What if we paired the RX 9070 with a 4K monitor to play the latest games that came out in the last couple of years? Because why not? Let's find out. On paper, this is actually quite a good idea because this graphics card has 16 gigabytes of memory and FSR 4 resolution upscaling is now good enough to actually use it. It is very competitive with DLSS 4. FSR 4 resolution upscaling is absolutely necessary if we are to make this combination work. And there is one major issue with it at the moment. Currently, there are no games that I'm aware of, at least not any big titles that support FSR 4 natively. You have to override it, and only games that support FSR 3.1 can be overridden using the AMD Adrenalin software. You just select the game that you want to override and then enable FSR 4. But not every game that supports FSR 3.1 can be overridden. For example, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it supports FSR 3.1, but I don't have the option to actually enable FSR 4 in this game. So yeah, the adoption rate of FSR 4 is unreliable so far. In contrast, DLSS 4 can be officially ported in a lot more games that came out over the last several years. Furthermore, we are yet to see how good or bad FSR 4 adoption rate will be in the upcoming games. Anyway, let's check what is currently possible with the RX 9070 paired with a 4K monitor. And to test this, I'm using the Sapphire Pulse version of the RX 9070 paired with the Ryzen 7 9800X3D as part of the Be Quiet PC build powered by MSI. And we'll be experiencing the games today on one of the best monitors for the job. This is the MSI 272URX QD OLED 240Hz monitor. By the way, if you are interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. Let's begin with Horizon Forbidden West, a game that is well optimized and yet looks absolutely fantastic in terms of visuals. The game looks so good now that we have FSR 4 as our anti-aliasing solution. It is night and day difference compared to FSR 3.1. Let's take a look at the settings. We are at 4K resolution, native AA. By the way, you can ignore that FSR 3 symbol over there because, as I mentioned previously, we are using AMD's override feature, official feature. You can check the status of FSR 4 by hitting Alt plus R to bring up the AMD Adrenalin software overlay and see, yeah, FSR 4 enabled and active. If it's not, then just quit the game, go into the Adrenalin software and enable it first, and then launch the game again. The graphics quality is absolutely maxed out, and I am maxing out field of view as well. Maximum 25, okay? I only disabled all of the features that I don't like, that are visually distracting, such as depth of field, that makes the picture blurry, as well as motion blur, lens flares, all that stuff. It has to go. And even at native 4K resolution, the performance is actually quite surprising. Take a look at that. We're getting 60 FPS over here, but it means that in some of the more GPU demanding scenes we'll get dips below 60 for sure. So it's not a consistent 60 FPS experience at native resolution. Like over here, for example, let's see, 57, 56, 55 FPS, okay? And there will be even more demanding scenes in the game, so we definitely need the help of FSR 4 resolution upscaling to make this game run smoothly on the 4K monitor. We'll start by enabling FSR 4 quality mode. Actually, this already looks quite good. Take a look at that, 80 plus FPS here in this town. And the image quality is phenomenally great, especially compared to what we had with FSR 3.1. It is just night and day difference. Yeah, FSR 4 is brilliant. I love it. finally, AMD has something that is very competitive with DLSS. Translucent particles are resolved correctly and look beautiful now, and there's little to no ghosting. The image is just beautiful. Finer details, such as grass and leaves, are preserved really well, especially using the FSR4 quality mode. Obviously, that quality will decrease as we reduce the FSR4 resolution upscaling quality further. For example, balanced, it won't be as sharp, and performance, it will be even less sharp. But we don't really need to lower that resolution upscaling quality, because even on FSR4 quality mode, this game is very much playable and enjoyable. We're well above 60 FPS. In my opinion, that is good enough. Take a look at this, yeah? Boom. No, you don't. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful experience. I'm just so happy to see that AMD GPUs are finally getting serious about competing with NVIDIA. We can increase that FPS even more by using FSR4 balanced mode. We are getting closer to that next level, which is 90 FPS, but we are not quite there just yet, because we're still getting 80 plus FPS in most scenarios, and less than that in others. Will drop below 80. Let's see, over here, 76, 75. Okay, yes, indeed, it is possible to drop that FPS below 80, even on the FSR balanced mode. So, yeah, I think if we want 90 plus FPS consistently, we'll have to lower FSR quality even further. Speaking of the image quality, it is still very much usable using FSR4 balanced mode. Yes, the overall presentation is slightly softer than what we had with FSR4 quality mode, which was nice and crisp and enjoyable, but this is still very enjoyable, and there are no horrible visual imperfections anywhere to be seen. I am well impressed with FSR4. And we definitely have to check out FSR4 performance mode. Unfortunately, even using the performance mode, we can't quite get that consistent 90 plus FPS experience. This right here is 1080p upscaled to 4K. And yes, the overall image looks softer than FSR4 balanced, but it is still usable. I would say that this experience is either equal or even more enjoyable than native 1440p. And obviously native 1080p has nothing on this setup right here. FSR4 performance mode paired with a 4K monitor is miles better. There's still no ghosting, and the translucent particles can still be seen very clearly. It looks so nice compared to the previous versions of FSR. Yeah, previously, if you select FSR 3.1 performance mode on a 4K monitor, it looked horrendous, absolutely disgusting. But now, FSR 4 performance mode is very usable and enjoyable. Next, let's take a look at one of the latest highly popular games. This is Monster Hunter Wilds. It is a poorly optimized game on PC, and visually it looks like dog shit compared to Horizon Forbidden West, which is just incredible how that could have happened in 2025 from a large AAA title. Yeah, but it did happen, so we have to live with it if we want to play it. We are at 4K resolution using FSR 4. Yes, the override did happen and the status is active, so that's all good. To get a baseline reading of what is possible, we'll start at native resolution using high ray tracing quality, high texture quality, because the highest texture pack is broken, or maybe 16 gigabytes of memory is just not enough for it. But yeah, every 16 gigabyte graphics card so far that I've tested, even at 1440p, using FSR balanced mode, it still doesn't work. The frame rate is just way too choppy when we're using the highest texture quality preset, which is actually a DLC pack that you have to download. So we'll stick with the regular high preset, and everything else is absolutely maxed out, with the exception of motion blur, that's turned off, and we'll turn off depth of field as well. At native resolution, the performance doesn't look that great. We are at 30 plus FPS, and we're not even moving yet, because if we do start moving, panning the camera, the FPS will drop, and that is one of the quirks of this game. So I think we'll have to just disable ray tracing right away, even though it will make the game look a lot worse, and it's actually not giving us that much of a performance boost. Just take a look at that. From 35 we went to 44, so it's not a massive boost, because we actually see the same kind of performance difference no matter what the FPS, because I was testing this game and I was getting something like 60 FPS, and then disable ray tracing and I would get 70-ish. So it actually looks like it doesn't matter what kind of FPS you're getting. You're always getting 10 FPS more out of disabling ray tracing, which is quite bizarre. But yeah, in this game, in its current state, we actually need every little bit of performance we can get our hands on. And now we have to start using resolution upscaling to boost our performance even further, to actually try and get that playable experience at 60 plus FPS. Let's start with FSR 4 quality mode. It made things better, but we are nowhere near that good 60 plus FPS experience, because we're still getting dips even below 50 from time to time, and this isn't even the most demanding level in the game. Yeah, not great. We have to make some further adjustments. So let's go ahead and select FSR balanced mode. That gives us a little bit more performance, but we're still struggling to stay at 60 plus FPS. There are still dips below 60, but no dips below 50 now, so that's a progress. And notice, even now, we're using above 12 gigabytes of memory. It actually, for some reason, went from 13.5 to 12.5 real quick as I was talking to you. Oh, there we go. That number is rising again. I'm guessing that more textures are loading in, because there's a lot more stuff on the screen over here in this particular scene. Yeah, 13.4 gigabytes. Okay. Next up, FSR 4 performance mode. Alright, this is even better. Although we're still getting somewhat questionable performance, with dips to around 56 as we pan the camera. But this is already looking okay. It's not super smooth, but this is okay. And since we're getting 60-ish FPS, we could actually use frame generation to boost our image fluidity and make this experience more bearable. Because, let's face it, in its current state, the game plays like crap. It's not a smooth experience at all. Let's go ahead and enable frame generation. And no wonder this game wants you to enable frame generation, because without it, it looks like absolute garbage, and no matter what you do, you can't really improve the performance by a lot. Even when you are lowering some of the most graphically intensive settings, you're not getting that much out of it in terms of FPS. You lower ray tracing, here you go, 10 extra FPS. You are lowering your graphics quality preset from the highest to low, there you go, another 10 FPS. That's just disgusting. With this settings configuration, the game is actually playable now. However, do I like the way it looks? No, not at all. It looks absolutely horrible. Alan Wake 2 is the worst case scenario for any AMD graphics card, especially for the RX 9000 series, because this game does not support FSR 4, and it is highly unlikely that it will ever be updated to support it. It has FSR 2, which we'll use on quality mode, and high graphics quality preset, no ray tracing. I think that it is important to look at this kind of games as well, because there are big games loved by many, myself included, and they are heavily tailored towards NVIDIA GPUs. This is not the first one, and it won't be the last game that is tailored towards NVIDIA GPUs. So I think it's a good thing to showcase that not every game that's coming out will be pleasant and enjoyable on an AMD graphics card. This is happening purely because NVIDIA's market share is incredibly high. As a result, the game developers are incentivized to make their game work as well as possible on NVIDIA graphics cards, and all other graphics cards are just second-class citizens at this point. Intel is a third-class citizen. Yeah, that is a shame, but it is the way it is for a reason. AMD missed a lot of shots with their previous GPU generations, so we're just seeing the results of that. The RX 9000 series is actually the first generation in years that I'm excited about and that I think is good enough to actually recommend to some users. Obviously, you have to be aware of the downsides because this experience is not going to be perfect, as I'm showcasing right now to you in this particular game. As you can see, yeah, some games are just biased towards NVIDIA, and FSR 2 looks absolutely horrible. I do not want to use it at all. It makes the image look blurry, it introduces a lot of visual issues, and that is why I don't think it is even worth enabling it. Even on quality mode, on a 4K monitor, it looks absolutely horrible. Compared to FSR 4, it is a night and day difference. So I really hope that FSR 4 gets a much wider adoption than FSR 3 did. And if AMD manages to convince the game developers to put FSR 4 in every major title, then they'll have a major win this generation, especially if they can keep those prices closer to MSRP and supply enough GPUs. Then it is possible that AMD will actually claw back some market share from NVIDIA this generation. That would be great for everyone, actually, and I hope that happens. I'd like to add a disclaimer to that. Actually, it is possible to inject FSR 4 into games like Alan Wake 2 by using third-party mod tools such as Optiscaler, which actually injects FSR 4 into DLSS files. But because it is not officially supported by AMD, nothing will get fixed if your favorite game doesn't work with FSR 4 injected in that way. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is yet another game that clearly demonstrates that the RX 9070 is not a graphics card for everyone. For example, I'm actually enjoying playing this game right now. This is my favorite game. I'm playing through it at a pretty steady pace, and I find it funny and enjoyable, and I will continue playing it. However, not on the AMD graphics card, because FSR 4 is not supported here, even though it is listed on the supported games list for FSR 4. I cannot use it here because check this out. I'm going to bring up the AMD Adrenalin software right now. As you can see, for me, FSR 4 is not available in this game. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, not available. The official AMD website says that it should be available for everyone using Windows 11. I'm running the latest version of Windows 11. Everything is up to date, the drivers are up to date, the game is up to date, and it's still not available. Which is a huge shame because even if I were to use just native 4K resolution in this game, I still can't take advantage of the beautiful anti-aliasing solution that FSR 4 provides. Because FSR 3.1 anti-aliasing is nowhere near as good. It looks much worse compared to FSR 4. And if you've been noticing the performance right now, it is below 60 FPS, which means that it will drop even lower than that from time to time. And all of that is using the high graphics quality preset. So not ultra and not the experimental, which are even higher than that. Even using the high graphics quality preset, we can't get a playable and enjoyable experience. Well, this is a playable experience, but is it enjoyable? No, not really. I am not enjoying playing this game with lower than 60 FPS on my screen. That is not something that I enjoy, because sometimes we will be getting dips even below 50, okay? Like in this scene right here, I'm looking at the landscape, 51 FPS, 50 FPS. Nah, not good enough. In conclusion, the RX 9070 has a great potential to be a superb budget-friendly solution for 4K gaming with its 16 gigabytes of memory and pretty good performance overall, including pretty good ray tracing performance too. However, it is massively held back by the adoption rate of FSR 4 resolution upscaling, which is absolutely necessary for this kind of graphics card if you pair it with a 4K monitor. This is the official list of games that support FSR 4, and most of them are Sony titles such as Spider-Man series, Horizon series, The Last of Us, Ratchet & Clank, and several more. But yeah, this is not huge. It is absolutely abysmal compared to the amount of games that support DLSS 4. And also, we have no idea if FSR 4 will be implemented in all of the major titles going forward, so it remains to be seen. Knowing previous AMD track record with implementing FSR into the latest titles, I remain quite skeptical about that, so before I start recommending the RX 9070 to be paired with a 4K monitor, I need to see that FSR 4 implemented in all major titles going forward. Until then, I cannot recommend it to everyone, but if the games that you are playing are on this list, or if you are able to run them at native 4K resolution, then go ahead. It's a good GPU. But again, keep in mind that if you're using FSR2 or FSR3 as your anti-aliasing, you are missing out on the image quality big time. NVIDIA's DLAA is a much better anti-aliasing solution, and that's where NVIDIA's graphics cards are actually beating AMD once again. If only the RTX 5070 would have had 16 gigabytes of memory, like the RX 9070, it would have been an easy recommendation. Unfortunately, in the current market, there are no good recommendations in this segment. Each GPU comes with its own drawbacks and limitations, and that is a shame because we're talking about $500+ GPUs right here, We're not talking about mainstream 60-class GPUs. I'm quite intrigued to see how NVIDIA will approach launching the RTX 5060. Will it have 8 gigabytes of memory? That would be devastating, but I guess we'll have to see. I hope you found this video helpful. Give it a like to show your appreciation for the work I do here on the channel. That is a great way to boost my video and say thanks. Also, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this combo? Would you buy the RX 9070 to play your games at 4K? Let me know. And if you are interested in any products featured in this video, you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. Also, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.